And then, hey.
Mr. Richards, how you doing, man?
Great.
You can talk to me or the camera, whichever you'd like. But.
Okay, I'll go back and forth maybe. I was fortunate enough to come over the last probably 2 months of first semester. I was allowed to come over for a half a day a week. So every week I was able to come in. Sometimes I came over just to see lunch, so that way I can see some of the students. Sometimes I came in the morning, so that way I can see, you know, how's attendance and tardies. I came in a bunch of different times just to be able to kind of see what it's like here at Mesa before I actually started the job.
Have you seen the new building?
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's awesome. I love all the rooms upstairs and downstairs. I mean, it's beautiful already. But I gotta say, Mrs. Sovacool's office that kind of overlooks, they're straight down the middle of the goalpost on the field, and Mrs. Boggs' classroom, which is on the corner where you can see all the Santa Rosa Plateau and a part of the stadium. It's pretty amazing views. As an educator, I started in 2003 as a teacher and a coach at Mesa Valley High School. I was there for 13 years. I taught biology, I taught life science, I taught marine biology, I taught AVID. I was also the girls basketball coach for many years there. And so that was my first spot, and it was teaching. And honestly, I absolutely love teaching. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed not only teaching the kids in the classroom, but also the coaching aspect too, right? And building those relationships. That's one thing I would say, like, I miss a little bit being an admin, is I don't get to see the same group of students for multiple hours every single day, right, to build that. But that was where I first started. I felt like I checked off a lot of the goals that I set for myself, and that's when I started looking to potentially go into administration at that point.
When you say goals, what types of goals were you setting?
I hit the goals that I wanted for teaching. I felt like I made those connections with students. I felt like I grew with that science department. We were all friends for, like I said, over a decade. It became very comfortable. Even with coaching, I loved coaching, but there was a point where I checked the box. We happened to have won CIF my 4th year, I think, of coaching. We went to state for the first time in the whole valley. Like, the girls basketball team went to state, and we did pretty good there. I won a Coach of the Year for Southern California. I won CIF championship. And my record, I think, when I ended was 109 wins and 37 losses. And so at one point you're like, this is fun, and how long can we keep it going? But I was also kind of looking forward to a new challenge, basically, at that point. There's been a decent amount of time that's separated us from, or separated me, I should say, from Mesa Valley to where I am here at Mesa. I didn't come straight from Mesa Valley to here. So when I applied to get an administration job, my first admin job was over at Thompson Middle School. I went to a middle school, not a high school. I think it might have been different if I went from high school to high school, because of you have that pride and you're a coach, and it's like you're always about, no, it's this way, and you're rooting for your teams. But I think when I moved over to a middle school and I spent 2.5 years there, it kind of took me out of that element of loyalty, right, to where you've been for a while. And then after that, when I was asked to move over to Mesa, I got to spend 2.5 years here now as an admin, and it is a different world than being in a classroom and coaching. And so I got to experience a whole new kind of career at a high school level, and kind of see things build from the ground up and take ownership of some of that. And now I have kids, I still have kids today that come up to me, and they're seniors, and they still remember me from Thompson days. So I felt more at home here. The students that we have and the staff that we have, honestly, and me being at a variety of different schools, it doesn't get any better than here. I loved high school, to be honest with you. High school is kind of like the center of your world, right? I remember when I was growing up, You know, that's where most of my extracurricular events came from, right? Was there. We didn't have cell phones. We had pagers and some other stuff, but we didn't have cell phones. So it was more like, hey, on Saturday, let's meet at the school parking lot at noon. And then from there, we're going to go out to lunch or go with the friends or whatnot. It was our meeting place. When I was a high school student, I was really involved. So that really helps. And that's why I kind of push our students, be engaged, be involved in something, because it makes your experiences so much more fun and enjoyable. And you tend to hang around people that are more successful too if they're also being engaged in something. So I have a really good group of friends, even still to this day, that my kids call them uncles and aunts because we're still close after all these years, that came from back in that time frame. But me as a student, I was a good student. If I'm 100% transparent, things came to me a little bit easier, so I wasn't the big studier type, but I got good grades, and so that was kind of how I did it. I also started working when I was a junior, and that carried me through even through college. I was a full-time worker even through college, so I never got that college experience because I was actually on my own and had to pay my way through college and pay for my rent and pay for food and everything else, and I worked full-time. So my enjoyment time was basically high school. I was a part of a variety of different clubs. We started a club called, at the time it was called, I think it was Panther Pride. I went down to Vista High School down in Vista, California, and we started that club, and that's kind of like what our beast is here. We did a lot of like student rah-rah and kind of getting out to the sport events. I played 3 sports myself. I did basketball, I did baseball, and I did track. They actually allowed me to go back and forth between those two, even though it was the same season. Anyway, that's a little bit about my background when I was in high school.
So looking back, obviously you give some good.
Do you want to answer the phone?
You know who it was? That was Mr. Ellis, our last principal. I'll call him back later.
Okay.
What other pieces of advice would you give?
I think the biggest advice I can give anybody is just be nice. I've always been, you know, kind of like that happy-go-lucky type for the most part, where I want to make people smile, want to say hi, and I was like that back in high school too. Don't confuse, you know, being happy and nice as, hey, oh, he won't, you know, hold people accountable. That still happens, but you don't have to be the mean, grouchy type person in order to handle that as well. Throughout high school, even throughout the jobs I've had throughout my life, you know, it never made sense to me to have to be the one that's angry and frowning in order to get things done or have people respect you. I think that if you are showing and leading by example with not only the things you say, but the things you do, you can command even more respect than being kind of feared. Be that hard worker. There's no sacrifice, there's nothing you can do that will impede with somebody's point of view on you if they see you out there working hard. You personally will see me, I don't know if you've seen me already, but you'll see me outside. I'm out there every single lunch, and unfortunately there's trash out there, but I'm out there picking up trash too. And I'm hoping people see that and we kind of turn that culture a bit, right? Because we have a very beautiful facility, a very beautiful campus, and the last thing I want to see is seagulls flying around. Those kind of, I think, characteristics is what's helped me be successful, and a lot of that I learned from when I was in high school and had to juggle working and activities and friends. I learned those things right here during your time right now. Yes, I had quite a few. I can't even name just one. I was blessed to be around a lot of positive people and hardworking people. That not only includes my parents, who I felt like always had my back. We had our arguments too back in the day, but I always knew they loved me. And so I would always try to do things to make them proud. I worked at a very early age, like I said, and paid my way through a lot of things. And so I had different bosses along the way that I respected. I will tell you that a lot of my characteristics also, the things I value, came from not only my home life, but it came from my friends. And that's the big key. There's a very famous phrase, and I think the author is unknown. And the phrase says, if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I really live by that. You look to hang out with the best possible people, the honest people, the ones that are going to do good, the ones that work hard, and you tend to be lumped up in that. And you tend to follow suit with that. You hang out with people that make poor decisions, you're going to be lumped up in that crowd. That's something I kind of follow, and hopefully that answered your question. I don't always believe in New Year's resolutions, to be honest with you. I know for some people they're like, what? But I don't, because so many New Year's resolutions tend to fall on the wayside at one point, right? Like, I'm gonna work out every single day and lose all this weight, and day 3, you know, I'm eating a Twinkie or something, right? No, I have goals set for myself. Like, obviously, I want Mesa to thrive, right? I know Mesa already has a great culture, and I want to keep thriving, and I want to expand upon that, even pre-pandemic, version. And I would say that those were my goals, not necessarily just because it was a new year. It did coincide, though, with a new job during that same point, because I was officially the principal starting January 1st. One thing?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. There's a lot of things that come to mind. I'm trying to boil it down to one. I mean, compassion and empathy and things like that. I'm going to say caring. Caring probably encompasses most of it. I have never been on a campus where I have seen the amount of staff that they say they truly care, and they actually mean it, and they actually follow through with that. And our students are amazing. I could stare that camera right in the eye and say that. Every school has good kids, but there's something different here. When I hear our subs come down and sign out for the day, and they're like, oh my gosh, I had an amazing day, your kids here are amazing, right? Or when I'm outside and I'm seeing people hold open the door for others. When somebody's doing something they shouldn't be doing, I've been out there when somebody's like, hey, we don't do that here at Mesa. You don't see that at other campuses. It's very, very rare. And so when I say caring is the one word for probably Mesa, I'm not just talking about staff, I'm talking about the students too. You know, it's tough. You come in and you follow Mr. Ellis, who is a great principal already, right, and well respected. You follow somebody like that, and you're like, wow, things are already good. Like, what do we do? I think there's always little things that we can do to get a little bit better. Speaking from a staff standpoint, we do some things that for staff, like through Renaissance or Beast of the Month, things like that, to kind of recognize them. I haven't seen much lately where there is staff recognizing staff. As far as the students go, I want to hear more of a student's voice. At one point here, and again, this is only my first week, but I'm trying to get these things in order, I want to do something like a principal's advisory. We take a few students from some of the leadership teams, and they meet with me once a month, maybe do a little pizza on the side, and we just talk for about 45 minutes to an hour on what's going on campus and what they see, and ask for their input. Especially me coming back in as a new principal, I want to be able to work hand in hand with our students and our staff, and that will give them a voice to be able to talk to me one-on-one.
That is the end of the interview, so if you want to add anything, a little last word, that's up to you.
Sure. Well, first off, thank you guys for taking your time to come out, especially on a Friday afternoon, on a 3-day weekend, and you're still here to do this. But honestly, to everybody else, to our students, thank you for being you. You know, keep pushing yourselves to be the very best version of yourself, but don't forget to take some time, again, to be with your family and be with your friends too. I said that earlier in this program. You are who your friends are, and that's true. So reflect on that and make sure you're with the right people for you. And again, it'll be a pleasure to work alongside you all. And don't be afraid to ever come up and talk to me. I'm out there during every break and lunch. I'm out there on the crosswalks during the morning. Don't ever be afraid to come up and say hi to me.